Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Papa D's at the train in Fordsburg, Johannesburg, South Africa. Today we're going to prepare a Boti kebab for you, which also people would probably call chicken tikka type of thing, but it's with the cubed chicken. And I'll be serving this with masala chips. Now you would say, masala chips, just take chips and throw masala on it? Yes, but there's just a little more to it. So before we go further, I'm going to start cutting up my chicken fillet. I've got here an ngeti with me. If you have something like this, it's good to prepare small grills. And if you don't, you could do it on your braai stand as well. So for this presentation, we need fairly thick cubes of chicken so they would stay on the skewer. So firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to half my chicken fillet here. Once again, I've probably mentioned this, but it's never enough to mention that you should use a clean, straight knife, never a serrated knife, especially when you're working with chicken. So I'm going to make this into nice cubes, and I'm cubing up my chicken. And thereafter we'll prepare the mixture. My chicken is ready. I'm now going to run you through the ingredients. Again, here we have some yogurt, normal flour, I've got butter, I've got a Papa's Piccalilli sauce here, some fresh chopped green chilies, and then I've got cumin powder or jeera powder, coarse red chilies, fine red chilies, I'm using Kashmiri red chilies, some turmeric and salt. Now to get the mixture going, I'm going to drop it in a bowl, add my yogurt, and start with my ingredients from the top. I'll start off with the coarse red chilies. The red chilies will also enhance the color. I don't want it to be too red, because when red burns, it becomes black. So if you stay to a nice orangey color, that's actually a nice consistency to have. Then I'm using my red fine chilies, some turmeric. That'll balance the red. It'll also bring the red and the yellow together to give you a bit of an orange. But more than that, I also want the flavor of the turmeric. And then of course, quite a healthy bit of the fine cumin, salt, and of course my crushed green chili. Again, I like the green chili in here because as the mixture cooks you'll find that the coarse portions of this mixture will actually stand out on your chicken. See, it's a nice medium orangey color, and you can see the crushed green chili. It's quite visible. And then I'm going to have a quick taste to see if the salt is right. I need to add a little bit more salt. My chilies are fine, and the rest of the ingredients are quite okay. The texture is nice and thick because I don't want it dripping off. You'll notice I haven't used any oils or butters in the mixture because that will actually affect the adhesion of the mixture onto the meat itself. Now again, before we place the chicken into the mixture, I'm going to drop it into some flour. Give it a nice toss around. Now if you just put this directly into the mixture, you may have a problem where your mixture won't stay on the chicken. This is a very helpful hint, because in most preparations where you are using a sauce and trying to apply it to either chicken or fish or anything, the process of putting it through the plain flour first is very important for the adhesion. There we are, I've got it in there. I'm just going to toss it around a bit so that it's all fully mixed in nicely. As you can see, my chicken is now nicely spiced. Just add the remaining chicken. Toss around, and there we have it. My chicken is now ready for skewering. I've also got some butter here. Butter actually is a nice basting to use. Whether you're doing burgers at home, you're doing steaks, a basting of butter at the end, once you put it onto the fire, actually helps caramelize the juices from the meat. So it gives you a nice finish, and it also enhances the taste. It's like adding ghee to your curry, or even butter to your curry for that matter. I'm keeping these apart so that they can cook through. I will also add a little extra of the sauce once I'm ready, to ensure it's all there properly, and we're ready to go onto the fire with that. The first skewer is ready. Let me do another skewer there. The nice thing about using cubes of chicken, it also retains the moisture, so it shouldn't dry up too much. If you use thinner pieces of chicken, you may find that it dries up, so you want to avoid that. Keep your pieces a bit bigger, and compared to fresh chicken fillet, I prefer using the frozen one. A lot of them are actually injected, so the moisture content inside is much greater. But for a dish like this, that's actually a plus point. Now while that's cooking, I'm going to prepare my chips, which I've already got pre-cooked here. Again, I'm going to crisp them in the oven, and then add the sauces and show you how the masala chips do. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm just adding some olive oil over the top here, because I want to grill the chips so that they're nice and crispy. And I'm going to pop this into the oven under the griller. My kebabs seem to be getting on quite well there. Be careful, the skewers are quite hot. You can already see the color of the burnt yogurt there, and that's the finish I'd like. Now just to enhance that a little further, before I turn the skewer around again, I'm just going to baste it with some butter. It's usually a bit difficult to put the butter on before you've grilled, because then the sauce is still very wet, and obviously it'll be a bit difficult to get the butter on there. You'll also notice that even as it's cooking, it's actually browning quite nicely. Instead of turning black, it's actually getting a nice golden brown color. You need to keep an eye on that because the fire is pretty hot there, and we don't want the kebabs to be burning. Just checking on this again. That's fine. I'm just going to give it a few minutes more to brown nicely. There we have it. The chips are nice and golden brown on the tips. They're nice and crispy. Now you could use a pan or you could use another container. I prefer using a dish. So I'm going to use one of these here and place the chips in here. Be careful, this is still very hot. I've put the chips in here with the olive oil. Right, now I'm going to season this. Firstly, coarse red chilies. Because we're doing masala chips, I am really putting the masala on. A little bit of fine red chilies. Why I'm putting it in here, it's quite easy to toss around. To that now, I'm going to add a little bit more fine red chilies. That's ready. And now, vinegar. I prefer using brown vinegar, not too much of it. That will just give it that hint of sourness. While that's happening, let's have a look at our kebabs and see how they're getting on here. I may need to turn them around again. There we are. It's drying up nicely, as you can see. Basting it a bit again with the butter. Fine. Now let's get back to the chips. I'm going to now add my piccalilli sauce. This is available at our deli. But if you're not too close to us, you could use a substitute sauce. The sauce comprises of mustard, tomato sauce, and then also it has dilled vegetables in it as well. So when you toss that around, give you a nice texture on the chips. You know, when you normally buy chips at a fast food outlet and you get it home, and by the time you decide to have it, it's usually all gone soft. But this is an idea of how to refresh the chips by putting it in under the grill, because there already is oil present in the chips. So to get that crispiness out is not too difficult. I'm just going to take a taste of this and see if it's what I wanted. And here we are. You've got the sweet, the sour, and you've got the chili to give you the little sting. And I just want to see how far we are with the kebabs now. Very close to the fire. Here we are. Can you see the sizzle? And that all comes about with the butter. And as I've said, the butter also enhances the taste. You'll notice now the yogurt has dried, and now all your spices are actually sitting quite nicely on your kebabs. The color also is not too red, and that's exactly the way I like it, in a nice golden brown or a light orange, because as I said, if you use a lot of red coloring, then it would look nice when it's just done, when you prepare it, but when you cook it, the red actually turns to black. So yes, that's our dish for today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I'm sure that if you're going to try this recipe at home, it's an absolute winner. Perfect for braais, perfect when people are coming over, and also perfect as an accompaniment. As I said, you could have it as an accompaniment with your dal and rice or your curry khichdi. So this is something new you can try. If you don't have an angeti like this, you could do it on your braai stand. And also today, there are a lot of these little portable grillers available. So that'll be all for us from today, from Papa D's at the train in Fordsburg, Johannesburg, South Africa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.